Okay, are we ready to, shall we start?
I say we give it a try.
Okay, so welcome, Dave, and the group. I'm, of course, don't know many of you. I'm Rob Robinett, as you can see from my, I'm recently returned to amateur radio about 4 or 5 years ago. And my primary interest is in radio technology. But what's that?
Okay, I'm on the wrong.
Can you mute Stan? There you go. Okay.
There we go. So, I've recently moved from down here to Half Moon Bay. So I live near downtown, and I've been working with Craig McCartney, who W6DRZ, who couldn't join us tonight, but Craig is really the one who's responsible for this, the WebSDR systems that are out at KFS. So Clint has been a major contributor, really the lead for the technology for the WebSDR, which I'll discuss. And I'm more focused on the Kiwi SDRs, which are a separate set of SDRs. So there's actually 2 sets of SDRs. So I did adjust I was going to share my screen if you want to. I have a very short presentation here if you want to see. Then I'll go into kind of demo mode if that's, I think, hopefully the goal for this is, I think what would be of most interest to you guys is what does this do and how do I use it? Right. So I won't go too deeply into the technology part of it. I'm mostly going to try to focus on operational. So if let's see if I still can't share my screens. So tell me when your screen sharing is enabled. No.
Okay, let me see here. I thought I had it.
It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Well, I'm on share screen, so screen. Okay, let me go. Okay, Rob, give it a try now.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see if this works. Do you guys see the KFS online SDR systems?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to try to play this so that I don't know what happens. Do you still see it?
Good. Lost something.
So do you see an entry of a white title page?
Just see a white page here, no text.
Oh, yes, I know it's, this is.
There you go. That's it.
Let's see, but let me try. Unfortunately, nope, you're not going to be able to see it. So I'm going to have to.
That looked good.
You saw that one?
Yeah, go back to play again.
Oh, okay. You see that?
Yep,
that's the title page.
Okay, well, there you are. There's only 4 pages here, so then I'm going to get into sharing my browser so you guys can see it. But anyway, as I say, Craig is really the instigator of this KFS system. Clint is responsible for the WebSDR system, which I think would be of greater interest to this group. And I'm responsible for this Kiwi SDR system. So basically the question, these systems, you access them through your browser. It should pretty much any browser, if you open KFS.rocks, KFSDR, as you can see up here, you will open a session, listening session out at KFS. This system is the WebSDR system, has a series, allows you, it's really oriented for ham users. So it has now most of the upper, the shortwave ham bands, and almost all of the ham bands are now available. Not all of 10 meters, and I'm not sure we have 12 meters available. But this system is focused on ham users, so it does sideband, CW, AM, FM listening modes. It comes from a TCI 530, a big omnidirectional antenna, and pretty much we can support many users. I mean, there are typically 50 or more users on the system at the same time, each of whom can tune to, it's as if they own the whole thing. They're not, their interaction with the system is not, it does not affect other users. So that's for listening to ham bands. The second system is the Kiwi system. And these are direct sample SDR. So they cover the whole spectrum. I mean, they go 0 to 30 megahertz, but the antenna system at KFS only feeds the Kiwis 3 to 30 megahertz. That system is at a different address, which I will put into the chat window. And the Kiwi is optimized for a different set of uses. In addition to it will do upper and lower sideband and all those audios, it has extensions like a CW decoder. So if you don't understand CW very well, like me, you can actually, it'll decode it for you. It will decode folks on TV. It'll do the digital radio. It'll do fax, or you can tune to Navtex, and it will tune and decode Whisper if any of you are interested in that. And that's my major area of interest, is the weak signal propagation reporting. There are 4 Kiwis. Well, I should say there's 5 Kiwis, but logically there's 4 Kiwis, each of which is fed by a different antenna. So you get access through the Kiwis, you can get access to the other antennas, which you'll see in a minute on the next page. However, the Kiwis are much more limited. There's really a total of 6 listeners who can use listen on the Omni, and only 1 or 2 listeners on each of the other antennas. So it's a different usage case. Let's see if I can go to the next page. This is a picture of the QTH. If you guys have driven down Highway 1 about 6 miles south of Half Moon Bay on the ocean side, you can see this, this forest of towers. Some of which, the newer ones, the telephone pole ones, are no longer in use. But the taller ones that you can see in the background are in use, not only for ham radio uses. Really, we're beneficiaries of the primary users of this. This site is a commercially operated site. It's used as a receive site for communications with airliners out over the Pacific. So air traffic control, once a airliner is beyond the horizon and VHF horizon range, then the planes can communicate over shortwave bands. They have their set of channels, and the air traffic controllers communicate them. It's upper sideband, and you can listen to the traffic. Surprises me now that there's satellite communications, but it seems like a lot of the communications between the San Francisco air traffic controllers and airliners out over the Pacific actually does go through shortwave. So that's the primary use of this site. In addition to which, you can kind of see sticking on a couple of towers, there are cell sites out there as well, which are actually a problem for us as shortwave listeners. So inside that white building on the lower right, it's a 2-story building, are the actual SDRs. And on the left, you can see at the top the bank of receivers for the WebSDR. The WebSDR is software that runs on a server that you can see down at the bottom. There's actually a couple of them down there, but these are Dell 1RU servers that run the WebSDR software. And up on the top, you can see, I think there's 8 of them, 8. These are SDR Play RPI 1As, each of which is tuned to a different band. So when you're listening to connect to the WebSDR, you're actually listening through one of those 8 SDR plays. On the right-hand side, you'll see a bank of Kiwi SDRs. There's 5 of them, and you can see they're labeled for what they do. The Kiwi is all-in-one unit. You feed RF into it, and it has its own computer inside that presents a web page to you, which I will show you. You can see some of the RF distribution network that's on the top shelf there that feeds them. So let's see, is that all okay, well then let me share with you. That's the equipment. Now so I'm going to put up the, let's see, I'm going to stop sharing that one. And let me put in chat the link that I'm going to go to for the WebSDR. It's, you're going to go to KFSDR.com. That's it. And I'll show you what you get when you go there. Let's see. I thought I left the wrong. Let's see, I'm at the wrong page up. Let me bring up. So let me share my browser with you, and you can see the KFSDR. Okay. I can't move it. Okay, so when I typed in KFSDR.com up here, we'll go through a little gyrations, and you will end up with this page. And there's much more down below, but you can do this from a mobile phone. I mean, it's a little harder to use, but almost any browser will allow it. Now, you'll notice that sometimes, especially with iPhones and so on, you have to click on this one of these audio start buttons. But you can see that already we're looking at a waterfall here and this is where we've tuned. So I can just click and drag this and tune to any signal I see in there. Of course, you can enter the frequency here. In fact, Clint might be better. I know is much better able to describe to you the operation of this of the WebSDR system, since he is not only implemented, but he's extended its functionality in many ways. But if you scroll down, you can see that there are different bands. There's 71 users on right now on that system listening to different things. And you can see each one of these groups of things are kind of scrambled up, but they're the IP address, and some people identify themselves who they are. But you can see this topmost one is the 80-meter band. There's 60 meters. Nobody's listening on 60. Next one is 40 meters. Of course, a lot of activity there. There's 30 meters, nobody there. A few people on 20, one person on 17. Looks like somebody's up on 10 meters. I don't know what they're tuning to. But anyway, you can choose up here at the top, you can choose which band you want to be tuning to. And this is, you click on the band here, and you'll get a different waterfall. And I'm not turning the audio on, but you can see the normal set of of controls. In fact, more than you might have in some radios. There's noise reduction features and so on. So if the basic usage is to just click on something if you want to listen to it. Make sure you're listening to upper side band. And if I turn this on, I don't know, you hear that? No.
You probably didn't select share audio when you shared your screen.
Let's see, I got to turn off now how do I mute the audio?
Well, the mute button does the job below the volume control.
I'm looking.
Hello?
Oh, there it is, mute. Okay. well, as you can tell, I'm not really a user of this. So I have to, this is, but hopefully with that one link, you can go to here and explore and interact. You can't harm anything on your computer or on the system. I think, right, Clint? There's not. I mean, this is pretty bulletproof, and you can now these what you're listening to is you're listening to signals coming in through the omnidirectional antenna. So if we go over to the other website for the Kiwis, and I've already loaded it here, and I'll put that into the chat window if I can get. Where is chat? There it is, chat. It won't come up while I'm here in sharing mode, I guess. But oh, there it is. Popped up where I have 3 screens here, so it's a little confusing. This is the landing page for the Kiwis, and you can see Craig, who created this page, gives you an idea of the set of antennas. So the omnidirectional antennas is this one, and if you click on this, you would go to a Kiwi that's connected to that antenna. The northwest and southwest and southeast are in turn. And these antennas really are extraordinary. They're 400-foot long wire log periodics. And they really do bring in signals that you won't hear anywhere else on the West Coast. I mean, I think but you have to use a Kiwi to get to them. So the WebSDR only it gets its signals. All of those SDR plays are fed by this omnidirectional antenna. So the Kiwis, and I'll go to I brought up it wasn't. Let's see. I'll bring it up again. This is the Kiwi system, and this is, let's see. Let me mute it. Mute. Okay. So this is actually came up. You can see on the Kiwi, you see the whole 0 to 30 megahertz spectrum. And one of the values of the Kiwi is that. And you can see immediately here, we've got a problem here around 20 megahertz. You see how there's a very broad band of noise. And this is actually new. I'm worried. I saw some guys working on the cell phone tower the other day, and I'm hoping they haven't introduced a new noise, one more of their noise sources to our receive environment. But so the Kiwi allows you to see all the whole spectrum, and of course, but its audio quality is not quite as good as the WebSDR. It has a significant amount of delay, on the order of 2 seconds of delay. So if you're a 30 word per minute CW operator, you definitely don't want to be using a Kiwi as your receive device. But it has all these wonderful extensions down here. Like, I don't know what would be there, but let's see if there's, the Navtex extension. You can load it, and it will, you can pick someplace, which I don't know what's near us, but anyway, it will tune to them, and you'll see the Navtex. I don't really use any of these, but these are these extensions give you access to all kinds of services that that people, that normally are not part of a ham radio receiver. So it's I think I've managed to disconnect myself from it. Let's see, there we go. So, oops, there we go. And let me turn that off again. So so those are the my two key messages to you, is these two links. And I know that members of the Half Moon Bay Club tell me they people who have noisy QTHs use listen on the KFS system to nets and so on while they transmit from their home on the antenna at home. And hopefully you guys would find it easy enough that if your reception at home isn't good enough, you would feel free to click on a browser and bring up one of these, preferably the WebSDR. So I can go into tremendous technical detail about this, guys, if depending upon the interest of the group. But I thought rather than just go forward here, I'd ask if there's questions or if you have areas you'd like me to cover that I haven't. Yes, go ahead.
Rob, I was just wondering, that location south of Half Moon Bay, is that the one that used to transmit to commercial shipping?
I don't think it ever transmitted. My understanding is that, well, I don't know about KFS actually. I don't know if it has in most, at least the other commercial site I know, and I'm a volunteer up at KPH up on Point Reyes. That site has a transmitter that's by Bolinas, and the receivers are out on the peninsula. In this case, for the current usage, the reception happens here, and here's you can see the here's the location of the site on Google Earth, and you can see the shadows of the towers there. And
well, this would have been quite a few years ago, because I had a ham friend that used to operate from there, and he would talk to ships passing by.
Okay, well then they did. Okay, I don't. The operations that were done at KPH were always, the transmissions were from Bolinas, and the reception is up at KPH, so that the transmitters don't deafen the receivers. But if you're in a QSO and bidirectional, it doesn't make any difference that your transmitter deafens you, so as it does most operators. But this site is a receive-only site at this point, at least for shortwave and usage. As you can see, it's on it's on a bluff. The antennas themselves are hard to see because they're wired antennas, so you can really only see the. Well, look you can kind of see some of these down here. If you can see there's some kind of guy wires or something for the directional antenna systems. The Omni system is right over here. You're seeing you guys seeing my cursor? Do you see the cursor?
No.
No. Okay.
Yes.
The Omni system then is near the that's the Omni near the building. Apparently it was moved there when it was previously near the bluff, but then the bluff collapsed and nearly took the antenna with it. So they moved it. But this is long before I was there.
Rob, Daniel, I got a question. Who owns the property? I mean, is that farmland or what?
There's a Global Wireless, I think. The property is the ranch is I don't know the exact ownership, to be honest. It's a ranch. It's a working cattle ranch. So I think that's the owner of the property. I think that there's inference is that the Global Wireless, I think it's called, a company that it kind of leases this and other sites around, I think around the US, they have multiple sites, this being one of theirs in the Dixon, California, up on the way to Sacramento, is a transmit site that I think is also operated by Global Wireless. But the radio systems themselves are operated by ARINC, Airline Radio Incorporated, which is I think a division of Raytheon, which is or Collins Radio, which is a division of Raytheon. I mean, it's a corporate stack of that, as far as I can tell. So they are the primary users of those antennas, and that's which means we can't really touch the antennas and fix them, because they do need fixing. But they work well enough for their purposes that they don't seem to be highly motivated to fix the antenna systems to make them work better for our purposes. But they do work really well. They're actually not quite as good as KPH, but there's no WebSDR of the KPH, and KPH doesn't have the directional antennas. Although I think most users are using this to communicate, to listen to QSOs domestically. I don't know if people are using it for DX. I don't monitor how it's used, so I don't really know. Clint might, but Clint also operates a similar site in northern Utah. There's a network of these WebSDR sites. We have one in Maui. I have a little 3-acre plot up in the mountains of Maui, and we have a WebSDR there. And then there's a Clint's in Utah. I think there's one in Arizona, but they're all over the world. You can access them, and there's a web page. Is that right? Is there a guide to how you get to the WebSDRs, Clint? I don't think he knows how to unmute.
Well, I have to make sure I get the focus. What was the question exactly?
The guide to the WebSDRs, if people wanted to go to others.
Well, there's WebSDR.org that gives you the world map and list of all the WebSDRs in the world.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Anyway, there's a lot of more technical detail. If you go to the landing page, there are links to. Whoops. Well, it doesn't work for me. It has to do with I'm inside the. Well, actually, that is a broken link. But here's a link to Clint's site, Northern Utah SDR, and then, of course, the links here are the ones that take you to the Kiwis on the different antennas. So I only see a few people because I'm sharing. Is there any other questions?
If you have a question, raise your hand. Well, let me look at the second group. Anybody in the second group? Oh, a lot of.
No, we've satisfied your curiosity. I hope we've at least encouraged you all to try this out.
Well, Rob, let me ask a question of everybody who's here. And I know that if I don't see your image and I don't see your hand raised, it'd be hard. But just a question: does everybody? How many folks do HF? Okay. All right, because I think what folks might not understand is this is more important to the folks who do HF, correct, Rob?
Yes, absolutely. We don't have any. This is 3 through 30 megahertz.
Right.
So if you're not interested in shortwave, this is really isn't a use to you.
Yeah. I ran into this because a friend of mine in Arizona said that I ought to get on this 40-meter net during the day. and he explained that you can't really hear everybody across the country, and what they do is they listen in on it, and he cited the Half Moon Bay, the SDR that Clint has now that I've seen who he is in Utah, and one on the East Coast, and they basically relay. They kind of like listen over RF on their radios, and if they can't make it out, then they go to an SDR to see if it's being caught on the same frequency on the SDR, so that they can reply over RF. It's kind of an interesting little way, and that I became more familiar with this by doing this to get a better understanding of HF. Walt, do you ever use the SDRs? I know you do HF.
Not normally.
Okay.
So HF is limited, but I do use it sometimes.
And Ron, do you use HF? I'm going to wake him up. He's probably watching the ball game. Janet, you want to know the score yet? Okay.
No, thanks. I used to be on HF only. 10 through 80 meters, mostly 15 meters and 20 meters had the best DX of all time. You could get anywhere in the world of those two bands. So and then when the sunspot cycle was right, you could use 50 watts and talk to Asia anywhere on 10 meters. Yeah, I'm not on there anymore, so. Yeah,
it's kind of interesting. Rob, would you say that what can be heard on the Half Moon Bay SDR, does that reflect what we should be able to hear in the Bay Area?
In principle, yes. I mean, you can there in addition to these channels that are open for for you guys, for the public to listen individually. These receivers also have a what's a whisper whisper function, and in whisper is a beaconing system. And let me show you what the last hour, all the sites that were being that are open to KFS. So this is in the last hour. You can see KFS. Each one of these represents a transmitter who was heard at KFS.
Oh.
And
okay.
Okay. So
is this on your site?
Yes. This is probably this is called WSPR.rocks. That's not my site myself. Okay. It's a friend of mine. But you can go to this site and search and learn all about all the current propagation or historical propagation events. But you can see right here, let's see, 10 meters. Here's what's open on 10 meters in the last hour. KFS has heard stations. All these red lines represent stations that have been heard. So you could go to this site and find out in general where you potentially you could talk to. So here's a site. What's that? 3D2UR. I think that's, I don't even know where that is.
Kingdom of Eswatini.
Yeah, how do you like that?
Hey, that's a new one.
Let's see what QR. Let's see. We look them up.
Make a note of that for Jeopardy, guys.
Let's see. University of South Pacific.
Okay.
Okay, and it's in, I think it's in Vanuatu on Fiji or something.
No, it's in the Cook Islands.
Cook Islands. Well, there you are. So the so there's each of these transmitters typically is at most, almost none of them are transmitting more than 5 watts.
Really?
Wow.
The thing about the South Pacific at this time of day, South Pacific is the place to go for DX.
Well, you can take a look here. Here's 40 meters. On 40 meters, we're in the last hour, we've heard ZD3RF from South Africa. There's actually, it might be somebody else down there. I don't know. You can pick up and see if, get a list of, yeah, heard them twice, pretty weakly, but heard them twice. Let's see. This is, so that's 40 meters. Let's see what's, we can see here's 80 meters. See, there's 80 meters is not going very far. It's, I think we have to wait. We're still gray lines. It's a little early for 80 meters to open up this time of, so you can just walk through. Here's 30 meters.
Wow.
A lot of 30 meters. Here's 20, which will go even farther. Here's 17. There's 17. Still open to the East Coast.
Rob, what's the time range on these? Over the
well, you can set it. You go up here. When I did the search, I went up here, and I said, tell me for the last hour.
Wow. Okay.
I can say go back 10 minutes.
Good.
10 minutes, but 1 hour kind of gives you an idea what's going on. If you want to see kind of overall, let's see, probably can't see everything because see how many. There's probably more than each. This is the each reception event is called the spot. So if I search for,
you can put 100K in there if you felt like it, but that takes forever for the page to build. I
thought Phil limited it to 5,000, but here's the last 5,000 spots. This is takes a while to refresh, but that's probably not early enough in the day. There's many ways that you can do far more sophisticated searches than this. I'm just using it in its simplest form. His webpage.
You notice that there's nothing going to Europe because it's in the middle of the night there.
Well, there isn't right now, but if we went back and said what happened from from this morning, you would see there was lots of activity.
This morning.
Yeah, we're limited by the way I'm searching right now. I'm just searching from now back to whenever. But if I went to, there's another page that will show you here. If you're gonna, now we're into this is where I focus is on this whisper stuff. And here's a list of all the top spotters in the world, and KPH is kind of down the list. And KFS is, let's see, where is KFS? There's KFS. So this is KFS, and here's what each band. If you look at it, you can see at 14 meters, at 14 megahertz. There were 11,000 reception events in the last 24 hours. At KFS. So there's a tremendous amount of data here that you can, if you're willing, if it interests you to analyze it, you can learn a whole lot. And that's kind of my area of interest, is to see how to create this database and to understand propagation. And things like antenna patterns, you can actually see, you can determine get an insight into your antenna pattern through looking at these spots. Can tell you, on what band, which directions your antenna is working best. And so there's a tremendous amount that can be learned from this. And that's my major focus. But just for operators, if you're interested in shortwave, what's open, you can go to WSPR.rocks and search for KFS for the last hour, and you'll get a very quick. There's been 1,270 spots in the last hour, and you click on map, and that's the map, and you get down in the lower left-hand corner a list of how many of those spots were on each of those different bands.
Rob, one question. When you talk about spots, I mean, are we talking about what are we actually talking about? Because I mean, like for instance, if I go on and I'm trying to do a connect with somebody, it doesn't particularly. How does it know the call signs? Is that just?
Okay.
I mean, I understand why it works on FT8, but what are these phone contacts?
No, these are not phone contacts. These are This is a mode associated with FTX. It's similar to FTX, except that it's a beaconing mode. So there's no two-way communications here.
Okay.
So all of these are KFS doesn't transmit. So these are transmitters that were received at KFS, and each such event, each transmit, event that's received there is called a spot. And if you look in this table, I'll show you, the table shows you an example. Here's a spot. Okay. This is, it happened 6 minutes ago. Okay. BK2, these are 2-minute long beacon transmissions. They're digital, packets in essence. And that packet that he transmitted carried his call sign, his grid, okay, what grid he's located, and his power. Now he's transmitting 10 watts, which is a lot for WSPR. And you can see that he has an extremely good SNR. You could hear his signal with your ear. Actually, it would be audible. If
you're a really decent CW operator, anyone that shows up on this list with a SNR of -18 or better, you should be able to copy.
If you're the SNR numbers are it isn't that WSPR hears below the noise level. It doesn't. It can't. That's impossible. These are SNRs for this signal in the 3 kilohertz upper sideband bandwidth. So there's all the other signals are mixed in there. Yes.
If you scroll your mouse down to about halfway down the page under W, you see a guy who's actually running 1,000 watts.
I'm sorry?
Oh, there's 1,000 water there.
1,000 water, K3XR.
Just below your cursor, about 4 rows.
Keep going up. 2 more.
There.
Yeah, K3XR.
He's running 1,000 watts.
Oh, well, he's misidentify himself. People don't understand that when they enter. I don't know. If you guys use, those of you who use the WSJTX software package for digital communications for FT8, there's a mode button on it, and if you select mode WSPR, it will pop you into becoming a WSPR receiver or transmitter.
Yeah, you can visually look at some of the other transmissions originating for that general part of the country. If he's running 1,000 watts, he has a really terrible antenna.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, but you can see that here's someone with 5 milliwatts.
Yeah.
Now this is because this is actually 22-meter band. This is the ISM band. What's it called? It's 22 meters in
ISM.
ISM, yes. And this has recently been authorized, right?
Well, yes and no. It's actually a Part 15 band. You don't need. You're not even supposed to run a call sign in there.
Really?
Actually. Well, but there's an article on 22 meter Part 15 operation in QST in the past year. So.
Well, there are people here, including this guy, who's transmitting at 5 milliwatts. Okay.
That used to be the old industrial frequencies, around 13 megs.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And if you're running
a call sign there, been that way for years. Yeah.
If you're running a dipole or vertical, it's a field strength limit, and it works out to be somewhere in the range of a couple milliwatts is what you can run without breaking the law.
Right.
And that's pretty common. There's a lot of them that transmit QRSS, which is rather slow CW. And if you go up there on the WSPR and just watch the waterfall, you can see slow CW march by on the waterfall.
Another thing, Rob, is that Dave asked a question earlier. I'm in Redwood City. I cannot hear myself on the Half Moon Bay SDR machine. However, if I connect to Utah, I hear myself fine.
What band is that? Probably 40.
40 and 80 and 20.
I'm surprised about 80 in the daytime that you couldn't hear yourself in Half Moon Bay. 160. Well, there's no receiver at Half Moon Bay on 160 at the moment, but you should be able to be heard in all of California on 160 in the day.
Should be. Oh, 160. I mean, 80 should be a pretty cake. Daytime on 80, 75.
Unless you're too close, yeah.
Oh yeah, you're too close. The band's out, sure.
Yeah, but Clint, I used to run 160 when Art Bell, W60BB in Pahrump, Nevada. We had about 10 of us get on 160 every night about 10 o'clock, and we all can hear each other.
Yep.
Right. Well, you had a big antenna.
Oregon, San Diego, and the Bay Area, and Pahrump, Nevada.
So what's your mileage from KFS?
From where?
From what is your distance to KFS?
I'm just on the other side of the hill, probably about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's too close. Yeah. If you were 30, 40 miles farther, I'll bet you do great.
Yeah. Well, Art already gave me a 5.9 plus from Redwood City to Pahrump, so I had no problem with that.
Oh, yeah, big ears.
Well, yeah, and it's also farther away. But
farther away, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's the Beehive Utah net here in Salt Lake, and a lot of people use KFS because everybody's too close. That's 40 meters in the middle of the day.
Well, I've been watching 40 meters. I've been using that system now about 6 years now, and I listen to myself all the time. And I was doing the swap net yesterday. My signal would go away, it would come back, it just completely disappeared. The band was very unstable lately, but that's normal, for 40 meters. But it's going to settle down this winter, I think, and it should be interesting. But I'll tell you, I'm a blind guy here, and it's very, very accessible for me to use. Very nice, very easy to use. I had no problem with the learning curve. It was very, very, very easy.
Now,
it didn't take me long at all to figure it out.
Now, one problem we are always having, both, pretty much all the WebSDRs in the world, is with Apple computers, especially old ones. Apple never does the same thing twice for more than a year. So it's an absolute...
Well, they want to keep it so, yeah.
Well, it's an absolute nightmare to figure out what they did to break stuff. I mean, like, take iOS 15. If you lose focus on your device, nothing but Apple products work. So
right. Well, I think they want it that way.
Yes.
They want you to go buy Apple stuff.
Yeah, it's a hair-pulling thing. So if you have an Apple and can't get it to work, even though if you've tried Firefox and Chrome, I'm sorry, but unless we happen to own every stinking Apple product for the past 10 years, different one, where there's no way we can figure out how the hell to make the thing work.
Yeah, I'll try.
I mean, unless you're a debugger and can tell us what's going on your browser.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I found the Chrome worked good for me. I mean, Firefox worked, but it gets very sluggish, at least with my equipment. So I work with Chrome, and it worked fine, quick.
Yeah, we recommend Chrome or Firefox, whichever one works for them.
Yeah, whatever one. I tried them both.
We do not recommend Edge and Internet Explorer. If you're using that, you need to get a new computer.
Right, that's for sure. That have been gone for so many years.
Upgrade.
Yeah, big time.
Upgrade to an ancient version of Firefox. That'll work.
Mm-hmm.
Janet, do you have a question?
No, I'd just like to interrupt for a second and welcome Carol, KP4MD from YLRL.
Oh, yeah.
Which I also belong to. Welcome, Carol.
Carol's watching the baseball game.
No, I'm a long-time YLRL member for like umpteen years.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much.
Welcome. So what else? Anybody has some other questions? It's a fascinating site. I mean, I found it useful. I'm too close to it. I just like Daniel was saying, I'm too close to it that I actually don't hear myself, and I wonder if I'm actually transmitting. But then I go to Utah and I find myself. So
you could probably find yourself on Rob's receiver in Maui too.
Yeah, the Maui system is remarkably sensitive.
Except on 80, Rob needs to do some work on chasing RFI.
Yeah.
The next time he's there.
I'm just over the hill, near Dave.
Ron, you're not over the hill, even though you're an Apple.
I know. I'm over the hill from KFS but I just transmitted a whisper signal about 20 minutes ago, and KFS picked it up at 100 milliwatts.
Mm-hmm.
So signals do bounce over the hill.
There we go.
Well, one of my friends, N6GN, who's in Colorado Springs, took his 20-meter transmitter down to one milliwatt, and I heard him in Maui on whisper, of course. As I heard him in Maui, it wasn't even too weak. I think it was pretty decent signal.
What time of day?
I think it was just the gray line time, early morning.
Okay, 20 meters. Okay,
20 meters gray line, and there's a peak when gray line times when the propagation gets really good,
right.
And then it kind of settles back to whatever it's going to be for the daytime. But yeah, you can, with whisper, you can, we're actually very actively working to extend it to even become more sensitive, using the FT. I don't know. I guess FT8 includes a new modulation technique, which hasn't been adopted by whisper, but it gives potentially another 10 or 12 dB of sensitivity, signal noise ratio improvement.
You mean FST4, right?
Yeah, FST4W is the whisper version of it, and the guys who use JTX for QSOs, of course, are using short 15-second kind of now packets between each other. 4W, the beacon modes are focusing on propagation, so they're not trying to bidirectional communication. So the longest mode sends a packet that takes 30 minutes and carries in it the same 50 bits of information. So we're working to make sure that to see how effectively that can be used. So it's been introduced to JTX 2 years ago, but hardly anyone has been using it. But
it's mostly people on 2200 and 630 meters that use those.
Yeah, but we see no reason yet why it needs to be limited there. Anyway, I digress. But the whisper thing is my main focus.
Well, Rob, I want to thank you and Clint for chipping in here and telling folks about it. Are there any other questions that anybody has? Are we pretty good on this topic? Which
I put my you're free to distribute my email address out if people have questions. I'd be happy to answer them. You can send me an email. Can
it be found on the site? I think that's where I found you.
Did you? I'm not sure. I think you found Craig's.
Maybe I found email. Craig and Craig.
Craig forwarded it to you. Well, that'll still work. He'll
I got there.
So, but yeah, I'm around working on this. I'm at the stage of life where I get to I try to follow my passions, and this is one primary one. So it's anyway, good. Well, I guess I should have started the whole thing by saying who's actually using shortwaves, because I realized that that's many fewer people now than when I started.
I hope this little program for those who don't do HF might kind of like start off by taking a listen to what's going on out there and how it works. I mean, I'm fascinated by when you look at it like the WSPR.rocks, to see the propagation and how far your stinking little signal will go around the world. I've got a little end-fed 20-meter dipole on a painter's pole out there, and I'm fascinated that how far that thing will send a signal off to. And it's just, when that kind of gets into you, it becomes fun. And then you find the guys at 3 o'clock in the morning who are trying to help you connect to every state. So if you're an insomniac and and they're listening through their SDRs to pick you up, and you start to realize that what's going on, it's fun. Rob, Clint, thank you very much. Any other questions? Daniel, did I see a question?
Quick, I just want to say, is it Clint who does the website? Thank you for putting all the nets on there, on the links there. I really appreciate that.
Well, a lot of that Rob did, but if you have a net or two that you want to add, just send it to Craig or somebody, and we'll make sure it gets on there.
And so far, I found that the information has been pretty accurate. So thank you very much.
Yeah, it's only as accurate as we get feedback. So
thanks, guys. Great service.
Great. Anybody else with a question? Last chance.
Okay.
I want to say thank you very much.
Well, appreciate your interest, and
thank you for everybody who's come tonight to watch. It's a decent, pretty good turnout. We usually get about twice the number of people, so this is fine. I'm kidding. This is a really good turnout.
No, thank you very much. I appreciate your interest, Dave, and the group. And as I say, if we've been working to improve the system and make it more usable, but in some respects we don't know. We're not listening to it all the time. So if you use it and it doesn't work the way you think it ought, please, send us an email. And
I noticed it's very reliable. Right? It doesn't crash very often, does it?
Well, our biggest vulnerability right now is our internet connection.
Yeah, right.
And
that's the weak link. Yep.
Okay, everybody.
Yeah, and in fact, this is the problem on this side of the hill in general. Is the internet connectivity here is remarkably fragile. We had a whole a day-long outage, I think last fall, when I guess a tree fell on the one fiber cable that runs across the hills, and it took them 24 hours to repair it. So I just it boggles my mind that the whole thing is so fragile that that it would go down in that so easily taken down. But
yeah,
I would love to, that's an area I'd like to help with, at least for emergencies, but I have too much other work to help with the Arden guys who I think are trying to address that. So
this is true.
Okay.
Anyway,
take care.
I'm just going to, one thing is I will probably post this to our website. I'll probably put it on YouTube so folks can find it. We'll put it on our website. So if you missed it and you came in a little late or something, you'll be able to catch it from the start. So once again, Rob, Clint, thank you. Thank you all of our visitors who found us through some sort of publicity. And I appreciate it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Now we'll probably go on to the boring stuff about, how the club's doing and what we're up to. This, you can stay or be entertained or whatever, but.
Okay, well, I'm going to mute myself here. I may bow out. I have a few things backed up on my to-do list here, so excuse me.
All right. Again, thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Good enough. So, all right. Just a couple of things. We're now on, we have a Twitter feed, which I forgot to post this thing on tonight, which just shows how useless Twitter can be, because as I said, I forgot to put it up there. But we, as I say, we now have a Twitter feed, which is 9406 hams_org. So if you know Twitter, you can find us there and you can follow us. I know Matthew is there and two other people. So, we'll try to get that out. But anything new and exciting otherwise? Well, let's see. Let me think. What we've done. I put the field day. Walt, how did you guys do in Pacifica? Unmute.
Testing. Okay, from Oceana High School, of course, east was directly into the mountains, but the CW guys were working the East Coast with our, reconditioned beam. I had my vertical, which is the same antenna that we have on City Hall for HF. And I had a contact in Hawaii, so it made some distance there.
That's nice.
Yeah, the CW guys managed to make Miramar or Burma, depending what you want to call it.
Wow.
Depends what map you're looking at.
Yeah, and it we only had, I'm going to say, around 100 points in contacts. Yeah. It just.
Were you guys on for the whole 24?
Pardon?
How long were you on the air?
Almost 24. It's just we shut down a little bit early on Sunday because we're unable to make contacts.
Yeah.
But my Hawaii contact came around dark 30 in the morning.
Wow. So what did you have? What did you barbecue?
No barbecues. We typically get a pizza Saturday night, or pizza feed. Other than that, I mean, it was, cold coffee and stale donuts.
Oh boy.
Good.
Favorite field day. Yep.
Good. We had in San Bruno, for those who Tom was certainly there, and Ron stopped by for a second. We didn't do very well. Steve, I think, has checked out because he's up on vacation. I thanked him for coming by. We did not have great propagation issues. I mean, no, excuse me. We had propagation issues. We didn't seem to get out very far, and
what kind of antenna?
I think that we'll learn from that next time.
Location.
Well, location wasn't bad, but there was a solar flare apparently that kind of screwed a lot of people over. So there was a little more than location. But 7 of us showed up there, which was really nice. I appreciated that. And,
wow.
And
at least it was nice and cool where you were, right, San Bruno?
It was very nice. We had it was on the patio between the city hall and the library. So the weather was very nice.
Weather was perfect.
Yeah, weather was perfect. And we picked up 7 new members to this club. So I don't see any of them there tonight, but that was kind of good. That always helped. We found some folks in San Bruno who have licenses and came to us clutching their postcards. Which was kind of cute. I like that. So that worked, yay, marketing. So while we didn't get a lot of points, I think we got 5 points for contacts, Yeah. But overall, we got about 1,070 points for other things. We all got trophy, we got a trophy. So, for being there. Yeah. Oh, Janet. A good time was had by all, and I thank you because you connected on the what is it, the GOTA? Yeah. The GOTA station. Janet helped out on that because she connected with Manny, who's not here this evening, but he's had a license for 4 years with general license, doesn't own a radio, has never made a contact until he made a contact with Janet on field day.
Yeah, I think I got 4 contacts on that day.
Yeah, I think we could have done some more, but I think we've kind of forgot that we could use VHF and UHF to make some contacts locally that would have made up for the lack of HF contacts, which was the area that we're having problems. This weekend was really good. I mean, I was making, there was a contest going and I made a lot of contacts, which was kind of amazing. It was kind of fun. So we're going to try to work on some things there to get folks to, to find out a little more about what we can do and maybe inspire some people to get their generals and then kind of try HF if they can. So all good. So anyway, if you go to the website, there's some pictures there and there's some pictures on some other spots. So anyway, bye, Matthew.
Bye,
Take
Matt.
care.
Hey.
We've got about an hour, 40 minutes, and I kind of think that it's time to go watch the baseball game for those. I want to thank everyone for coming. And I'm not sure if we'll have a meeting in August, because right now we've got a lot of people who seem to be going on vacation. I know Malcolm's on the road in Alaska right now. Jenny, no, you're not going back to Hawaii, are you? You stinker.
But going to Vegas first.
Oh, Vegas first. Oh, there you go.
Vegas first, and then Hawaii again.
Then you can go and have some money to go buy Mai Tais in Maui.
Right. Yeah, and I'm actually driving to Vegas via Tahoe. So I'm going to go to Tahoe, Mono Lake, down to Vegas, up, and then around up the coast. Yeah,
it makes sense because the gas is cheaper on the other side of the hill.
It is.
It's come down considerably. I don't know if anybody's noticed the gas has dropped.
Yeah,
it has come down by
perfectly timed.
But it's still cheaper. It's still cheaper.
Considerably is the right word, but it's coming down.
It's coming down.
No, cheaper, not cheap, but cheaper.
Right.
Cheaper. Still crazy, you know. I don't know.
Now, if anybody wants to hear about a great place of gas, where Westboro comes down to El Camino, there's a quick mart or quick stop or something. It's considerably less than anywhere in San Bruno.
Yeah. Okay. It's kind of interesting to watch. I mean, I think our problem, one reason why we're as high as we are in some parts of El Camino, San Bruno, like El Camino and towards the airport, it's because people are refilling their rental cars and they nail them. So, you know, it's like the place at the top of the hill at Skyline and San Bruno Avenue. I think they're $5.89 right now.
Yeah, it's insane. It is.
Yeah.
Yep, it really is. I was shocked at how cheap it was.
Yeah, it's cheap, but if you go down to El Camino and the stations around El Camino, so it's what it is. You know, it's what it is.
Unless you have a Ferrari or something that you have to go to a Shell station and get high test.
Well, if you have a Ferrari, then you shouldn't even.
And you don't worry about it, right?
Worried about it, you know. It's like the old, you know.
Those are Ferrari owner problems, not.
And if you want to get
better mileage,
you want to get better mileage, don't be driving 80 miles an hour down 280.
No, I personally would, I always just kind of like, I turn my car off and coast down San Bruno Avenue. You know.
Right.
Our brakes don't work well, but whatever. It's a thrill. You save a little money here, you save a little money there. Yeah.
Good old San Bruno. I used to live there back in the 50s growing up.
Yeah. Did you know Tommy Snotty?
What's that?
You know Tommy Snotty?
No.
Oh, so, okay. I knew.
I've gone a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. I know.
Yeah. I keep trying to remember where I lived now. But it was on a hill naturally, and the window he blew.
Yeah, it's probably $1 million house. So
it probably is now.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, your family probably bought it for $4,000 or $5,000, and you know.
Yeah, GI Bill. Yeah, my dad did. Whatever. Yep, moved out of there in '59, and came up to Sackville. So.
Yeah. So.
I've been back since.
Well, hey, you missed it. You should now. You want to, do you spend a lot of time on YouTube?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, enough.
Headquarters YouTube sometime.
You have to do that.
You know, I mean, they're building everything. They're everything.
Is Littleman still around? The supermarket? That's probably long gone, huh?
That's long gone, Chris.
Yeah. See, I'm dating myself. Yeah. How many people remember that place?
What
You're the only one.
Littleman.
Oh no.
It was a supermarket.
I remember where Molly Stone's is now. There used to be a Petrini's. That's where I was shopping in when the big quake happened.
Oh.
89.
89, yeah.
Frank Petrini.
Well, I remember the big quake in '57 there in San Bruno. Yeah, I remember that one real well.
Little kid, yeah. Scared the crap out of me.
You did too. Yep.
So anyway, well, things happen.
They do, especially down there.
Yeah, especially down here. So
anyway.
So let me see. So there's not much going on. We're going to have to find a date for coffee and a radio. Our local Starbucks. Anybody have? I know that a lot of you guys. Well, there's not that many people who are, in the group. But I know Tom, you're the one who asked. I think about wanted to learn a little bit more about HF radios and things and do something. Yeah, we're going to have a couple of hands-on days. Jenny, we've got to work on Doug to get his license. Are you still working with those people? Are you still working?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that gets me do all sorts of things for the Red Cross with him, and I'm still.
We're going to try to
supervisor and.
We're going to try to coerce him into gaining a license.
Okay.
I'm trying to coerce him into letting me use his church for a ham cram in September. So we can get some more folks licensed or upgraded, Jenny, upgraded, so that you can use your radio.
Upgraded? Wait, did you say upgraded?
Upgrading, yeah. Get you to a general, okay?
Okay.
You know, so you can, I mean, let me see here. We've got an advanced.
I've got the book already. I've got the book. I'm gonna start cramming myself for the general.
There you go.
All right.
So that's all good. So anyway, well, I think that's about it. I'm gonna call it quits. Thank everyone for coming. I think a good time was had by all. So, Walt,
absolutely.
Nice to you, Tom, Jenny,
thank you,
Ron, everybody, Mike.
Yep.
You're very quiet back there. Just keep to the right. Is that meaningful to keep to the right?
That's Sawyer Camp Trail.
Oh, yes, okay. So it just happened to be there.
Yeah.
The dotted line is what the implication is, but that's not what it says.
Oh. Well.
There's several of those signs on this